guys, so today I'm going to be doing my March wrap up and my April TBR. So for the month of March, it wasn't as great as a reading month as February was. February I read like 7 books, I think. That was amazing. It's not happening again this month. So I read 5 books in the month of March and I kind of felt a little disappointed in myself for only having read that many books, but I don't know, like I just kind of went through a reading slump for some reason. I don't really know what was going on. I think it might have been one of the books that I read just kind of, went downhill for me, so I'm gonna blame it on that, but it was still a good reading month. I'm still about 6 or 7 books ahead of my reading challenge on Goodreads, so that's something that's really good, but I just really wanted to read as many books as I did in February and it just didn't happen, which is fine, but yeah, let's just get right on into the books that I read in March. So one of the first books that I read in March was Bruja by Zoraida Cordova, and this book is seriously so amazing. I can't wait for you guys to actually get your hands on it, and it's coming out in June, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Zoraida sent me a copy, and I'm so happy that she did. Thank you so much if you're watching. I don't know if you're watching. But this is the sequel to Labyrinth Lost, and I absolutely loved it. If you didn't know, the series for Labyrinth Lost follows each different sister. So this one is about Lula, the first one was about Alex, and I absolutely freaking loved this book so much. You guys are going to totally love it. If you loved Labyrinth Lost, you'll love this one as well. Latinx, witches, magic, fun, zombies, what? Crazy. I love it. Another book that I read this month was actually a play, and that is Julius Caesar by William Shakespeare. I kind of liked it. It was fine. It was good. I would have liked it better. I don't know if it just wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't like my kind of play. I don't know. It just didn't really like have any sort of impact on me. I did do really well on my test, my midterm for this play, so that's really good. I'm really glad that I did well on it, but it just wasn't one that I connected to. It has some good speeches, has some good quotes, but overall, not really my cup of tea. It's fine. It's short. Not a big deal. Onto the book that put me into a slump, and that is Everlist by Sarah Holland. I listened to that on Audible in March, and that book was just not something that I enjoyed at all. I gave it a 2.5 stars on Goodreads, and that's not really something I do very often, because if you know me and if you follow me on Goodreads, you know that I give a lot of books 4 or 5 stars just because I like to read what I like. If I don't like a book, then I'm just gonna stop reading it. But for Everlist, I just was so, I wanted to like it so much because so many people love this book. And I'm just like, I need to understand what the hype is about this book. People are saying that it's kind of a better version of Red Queen, and I didn't really enjoy Red Queen. So I wanted to give Everlist a try, and it has such a beautiful cover. So I'm really glad I didn't buy the physical copy because I would have been like, I don't know what to do with this. And I probably wouldn't have finished it if I had bought the physical copy because I just needed something to read, like just something to listen to when I'm on the bus, because I've been getting really bad car sickness when I'm reading, so I just had to have something to listen to. And I just really didn't like it. I'll leave my review for that book down below, but it just wasn't, I don't know, it was just way too cliched, and it didn't use those cliches in any sort of new or interesting way. I really like cliches, and I have nothing against those, but she A, used too many, and B, they didn't really help the plot at all. They just were kind of like leftover things that didn't really work at all. Like when an author uses a cliche, I want it to actually, further the plot or further the character's development. I don't want it to just be an add-on just to make something interesting, if that makes any sense. So as you can tell, I didn't really like Everlist, but that's totally fine if you liked it. I could totally see why people would like it, because obviously I did finish it, so I was interested enough to finish it, but it just wasn't for me this time. The next book I read in March was Bright We Burn by Kiersten White, and oh my goodness, this book pulled me out of my reading slump. It is just, oh my gosh. This is just one of the best books of 2018. It is, oh my god, so good. It turns so many tropes on their head. Lotta is just so violent and bloodthirsty and oh my god, amazing. I absolutely love this series. I will scream from the rooftops. Everyone has to read And I Darken. Everyone has to read Now I Rise. Everyone has to read Bright We Burn when it comes out in July. Oh my god, it is just my favorite series ever. It is amazing. Like, you have to go read it. Go read it. At least read it before July, because you're gonna want Bright We Burn. The last book that I read was a book of a friend's, and that was Maggie at a Bookish Fairy, and she asked me to read her work in progress, and I did, and I absolutely loved it. It was just so awesome. It's a fantasy, and I just really enjoyed it, and I've never really actually beta read for anyone, so it's kind of nice to get to try out beta reading for someone, and she's so sweet, and I just absolutely loved her writing, and I can't wait for everyone else to go read it. Alright, so those were all of the books that I read in March, and now we're going to get into the books that I will read in April. So this book has been on my TBRs for quite a few months, ever since I bought it, and it's Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. But hey, look it, I'm actually reading it this time. I am 121 pages into it, so I'm reading it currently, and I'm absolutely loving it. I've actually read this book before, I think a few years ago, like about 4-ish years ago, and I really liked it. I just kind of forgot everything that happened, so I'm rereading it, and I'm totally like, everything is coming back to me, and I'm like, oh my god, I totally remember this happening or this happening, so it's kind of easy to read it. I think I'm going to finish it really quickly. But yeah, this is a book that has been on my TBR for so long, and I'm so glad that I'm actually going to be able to cross it off of my TBR finally. And I just want to quickly mention that Truth Witch by Susan Dennard isn't going to be on my TBR this month. It was on my TBR last month, and as you can tell, I didn't read it. I actually got a few, I think about 50-ish pages in, and I had to stop because it was super fat phobic. Just for like this little section of the book, but it was enough for me to not want to finish at that moment. It was just a little too harmful for me, and so I'm going to try to read it maybe in a few months and see if I can kind of skip any sort of fat phobic parts, but I just wanted to let you guys know because it's important, and yes, let's move on. The next book I want to read and actually finish this month is Midnight Jewel by Richelle Mead. I have not finished this book yet. I am actually more than halfway through this book. I'm at about 215 pages. So I started reading this a few months ago, and I just stopped reading it for some reason. I actually really like this book. I don't know what happened. I can't explain it. I just didn't finish it. So I definitely want to finish this, and I want to read it, and this actually follows my favorite character in the series, so I don't know why I wasn't finishing it. I think I just found something I wanted to read more, and I started reading that and I kind of forgot about it. So I want to actually read this, and yeah. This is the sequel to The Glittering Court by Richelle Mead, and I read that last year and I absolutely loved it, so I'm really thinking I'm going to like this one as well. The next book is another one that I've started reading, and I am 63 pages into it, and that is The Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds, and I am really enjoying this one. I haven't actually ever read any novels in verse before, but this is actually so good, and I think I can breeze right through this book. I read the first 60 pages in like a few minutes, so I think it's going to be fine. I could probably finish this today if I wanted to, so I'm really excited to get into this book. It's so good. Like, I've already read 60 pages, so I've already gotten into it, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. The next book is a book that I'm reading, and I'm actually kind of annoyed that I have to read it now. I was going to wait a little while, but I was getting spoiled for it, as you could see on my Twitter. That is Restore Me by Tahara Mafi. And people were spoiling the heck out of this book, and I was so annoyed. I was like, literally, why are people spoiling this book without actually like putting any like warnings on there of like, hey, this is gonna be a spoiler? So I just have to start reading it. I'm about, let's see, where am I at? Oh, I think I might have lost my space, but I think I'm about 70-ish pages into this already, so we're gonna read it. It's gonna be amazing. I will cry, and yeah, you guys are gonna hear a lot about this book once I start reading it. The next book on my TBR is Ruined by Amy Tintera, and this is on my TBR just randomly because I found out that she is Latinx and that this is a Latinx book, and I had no idea, no one told me, so I'm going to read it, and I'm really excited. I actually don't really know too much about what this is about. Pretty sure it's fantasy, and I'm really excited. It's been on my shelf for quite a few months now, and it's fairly thin, so I think I should be able to finish it fairly quickly. It's about 330 pages, so I'm really excited to read this, and I need to read more Latinx books. It just has to happen. And the next book on my TBR, if I end up finishing the rest of those books, is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and I am really excited about this book as well. It's also a very short book, so I should be able to finish it. It's about a little over 300 pages, and it's kind of like a gender-bent Sherlock Holmes, but not. You know, Sherlock is actually a girl, and then Watson is a boy, and they're kind of the descendants of Sherlock and Watson, so that's all I really know about it. I've read, I think, maybe 30 pages of this book, and I actually really liked it. I just had to put it down because it was a library book. So I finally have my own copy, and I'm going to read it, and Rocky absolutely loves it, so I'm really excited to get to read this book that she loves so much. Alright, so I kind of went on a few tangents, kind of rambled a little bit in this video, so sorry about that. It got a little long, but I'm really excited for the books that I'm going to read in April, and I hope to, you know, kind of update you guys through reading them. You know, follow my Twitter, it's where I update the most. And also become my friend on Goodreads. I update there all the time. I am constantly updating my spot in my books, and I, you know, leave little notes, and they're kind of funny, they're kind of weird, they're kind of a little cringy, but you guys are gonna love them. So go ahead and friend me on Goodreads, answer my Goodreads question, and we'll be friends there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye! With the fear of missing out, 'cause it's a lonely weekend without you.